What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. And welcome back to another edition of Matchday Reloaded. It's the first one we've done, and I can't even remember how long it's been since the last time you and I were together, not for a World Cup match, but for a Manchester United match, a Matchday Reloaded. It feels very, very good to be back, doesn't it? Yes, we're going to be talking about Manchester United's 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest in the Premier League at Old Trafford last night. Premier League football is back for Manchester United. Premier League football is back at Old Trafford, and 3 points are back at Old Trafford. And actually, it must be said, I was just doing my sort of prep as I was getting ready for you guys this morning. I was making sure we had all of our clips lined up. We're going to be hearing from Flex, KG, Marcel, Faz, Cam, some player ratings as well today. So we've got a jam-packed show. But I was looking at some stats before I started, by the way, guys. And listen to this. Listen to this. This goes to show that things are going pretty well for Manchester United and Erik ten Hag, especially at Old Trafford. With 6 consecutive wins at Old Trafford, Manchester United are currently on their best home run since 2017. Yeah, 5 years, our best home run in 5 years. And you would hope, fingers crossed, it continues. A bit of negativity, a bit of doom and gloom about some of the transfer situation. But one thing you can't have doom and gloom about at the moment is how we're playing and the results we're getting on the pitch. And we're in a bit of a positive space at the moment, especially after last night. It's as run-of-the-mill a victory as I think we're going to get this season. Yes, they're bottom of the league. And yes, they're not playing very well. And yes, you know, there's always an asterisk over everything, isn't there, nowadays with social media and all that kind of stuff, right? Because after we beat Burnley, it was, yes, they're Burnley, but it's the Carabao Cup and they're a championship side. And last night it's, well, yes, they're Nottingham Forest and they're not playing very well. But look, you can only play who's in front of you. You can only beat who's in front of you. And we've done that very well. So we're going to be talking about Erik ten Hag, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro. We've got to donate a lot of time this morning to Casemiro, guys. He's absolutely fantastic. We're talking about every single player, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As Tapislow says, there you go, smash the like button, guys. Exactly. We had a great like number in the end last night for the match view with myself and KG. So if you haven't already, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UV Members Club too. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, your emojis. There are so many emojis that have been added recently. One of the most popular ones being Boy Kev has been added in, so you can get the Boy Kev emoji. You also get access to UV Raw, exclusive members-only access, a behind-the-scenes look at the day-to-day goings-on at United View. New episodes dropping all the time. This week's one is the Manchester Derby one, I know, but there's a funny clip, if you haven't seen it already, with Marcel involved in that. New footage being shot as we speak. Yesterday, there was drama travelling to Manchester with Marcel's lateness. That's going to be coming to a future episode of UV Raw. So plenty of stuff going on in the UV universe. But let's start off talking about last night, and let's get some comments from Erik ten Hag after the 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford. Now, speaking to Amazon Prime after the game, and by the way, I know myself and KG were kind of joking about it during the match view. Their coverage, very good. Very good. Jeff Bezos, I mean, if he can bring that level of production to Old Trafford, what could he do if he owned the whole football team? I'm thinking drones. I'm thinking transfers. Next day delivery. You know, Prime settings. Imagine the sponsor. We need a new one. Team viewers going Prime across. Now, speaking to Prime after the game, Erik ten Hag spoke about Manchester United being more clinical, saying, quote, "I told this to the players in the dressing room. We have to score more goals. We created many chances and we have to finish the game earlier. You need to be clinical and our players can score more. We have to be ruthless." And it's interesting that he says that, because if you look at a couple of substitutions he has made in the last couple of games, I look at Alejandro Garnacho against Burnley in the Carabao Cup. Garnacho basically had 2 one-on-ones, didn't he? And he missed both of them. And then very quickly he was taken off for Anthony. And essentially the reverse, the flip side of that happened last night, because Anthony, fantastic chance, one-on-one. It couldn't have been better conditions for him. Bruno Fernandes gives him the ball. It's on his left foot, his preferred left foot, cuts inside. You're just thinking, just easily finesse it into the corner, and it was a poor finish. Hennessy saves it, one of the only things he saved last night. And then not long after that, suddenly, Garnacho comes in. Garnacho comes on. And I think Ten Hag's right. There were points last night whereby overall, it's a 3-0 game. And again, as I said just a few minutes ago, it's as run-of-the-mill as it's going to get, you feel like, this season for United at home. But at the same time, there were a couple of moments where you just thought, particularly in the second half, maybe we just need to kill this game off a little bit. Maybe we just need to be a little bit more clinical. Just kill this game off, because maybe a better side would have found their way back into that one yesterday evening, and maybe that's what Ten Hag is talking about there. And look, it's plagued us this season. There have been a couple of really big performances whereby if we were a little bit more clinical, I look towards that Newcastle game. I tweeted about this the other day, that almost in retrospect, that 0-0 against Newcastle now doesn't look too bad because Newcastle are playing so well. But at the same time, I think back to that game and I say we should have won that. We had two opportunities really late on, Rashford and Fred. I mean, I think Fred was an open goal. Rashford, I think, was a one-on-one. And we deserved to win that game. And look where Newcastle are at the moment. And you go, actually, the teams we've played this season, the teams above us, we've played well against them. And we've deserved to get more than we have. And we've got a lot against the teams above us. It's only really City where we totally collapsed. We drew with Chelsea. We were really unfortunate. A really soft penalty. And again, that first 30 minutes at Stamford Bridge, you have to remember, we dominated. And if we were clinical, we'd have been comfortably far and away from them. Newcastle, if we were more clinical, we win that game at Old Trafford. The other top four rivals, Spurs beat them, Liverpool beat them, Arsenal beat them. So we're doing okay. And again, I know there's a lot of frustration with a lack of business, and let's face it, there's going to be a lack of business in January. We've burnt through cash, we've got no money. But at the same time, I look at how the team's playing. I look at how players like that were playing last season that weren't playing well, like Rashford and Martial, are playing well at the moment. I look at people like Casemiro, I look at people like Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, and I look towards the dugout and I see our manager, and I think there's a reason to be positive. I really do. Now, when asking about transfers, Erik ten Hag said, we are always in the market, but it has to match the sporting criteria, but also the financial criteria. We do what we can to bring the players we need. And really, the key thing is there. He says about the sporting criteria, but the key words there are financial criteria. Basically, financially, it has to fit to the money that we have, or in this case, we don't have. We don't have a lot of money. And there aren't a lot of deals to be done, unfortunately. Now, that's not a cop-out for the ownership situation, but as I've said before, if you said to me just one more Glazer window where it's just nonsense and then they're gone, yeah, all right. I mean, what's the expectations? I do think we probably have to taper our expectations for this window, that it's going to be loans, and again, what that loan's going to look like, I have no idea. I don't. As Ten Hag said, we are looking for offensive players, we are looking for a striker, so he holds no, he's not being cryptic or anything like that. We're looking for a striker. We're looking for a striker. The problem is, what strikers are available in January? That makes sense. Obviously there are strikers available, but quality strikers available. And do we want to panic and do business in January? Then we're stuck with a player that doesn't really fit, as Ten Hag mentions, the sporting criteria. No, probably not. Now, he's also asked about Cody Gakpo, and Ten Hag said, I don't want to talk about individual cases. When speaking to the BBC, also after the game, he said, quote, we conceded no goals, kept a clean sheet, happy with that because it's always the base to compete. We could have scored more goals. We had some great attacks, lots of movement. When you have one-on-ones with the keeper, you have to score more goals. And again, I look at that as a bit of a nudge to Anthony, because that's what I think. I think to the one-on-one. A one-on-one with a keeper, you have to score more goals. And our goal difference isn't very good as well. Remember, because we had some really devastating defeats this season, we've conceded 6 goals, 4 goals. And when we win, generally it's by a 1-goal margin, or at most a 2, but usually a 1. Our goal difference isn't that great. So last night's victory, 3-0, absolutely positively adds to that. And it might come down to that when it comes to that 4th spot towards the end of the season. But Ten Hag's right. We're not coming out. I'm certainly not coming out of last night's performance. It was the perfect performance. Yes, absolutely brilliant. No, there was still a lot of room for improvement, but certainly a lot of positives. He was also asked about Marcus Rashford's performance last night and his continued impressive form. Ten Hag said, quote, it was not only Rashford, but I'm really happy with his performance once again. He is in a really good pattern, and if he keeps with this pattern and spirit, it is good for us and good for him. We'll talk about Rashford later on. He also said, we want players in, but in the front four has not played much together in the first part of the season. If we can bring them together more often on the pitch, I'm sure they will progress and get routines together and score more goals. He was also asked about Luke Shaw, because of course Luke Shaw played centre-back last night. He played left centre-back alongside Raphael Varane, a returning Raphael Varane. Harry Maguire only fit enough for the bench after his recent illness. And Ten Hag said, Shaw told me last week he can play there being left centre-back, and said to put him there. He played there really well. He looked really experienced and composed. It was a really good performance from him. And he also, when talking about the league, he said, quote, we're not looking at league positions right now. It's about where we are at the end of the season. We have to improve the process and battle for winning every game. That is the focus that the whole squad needs, and every player needs to concentrate on that. Now, speaking of Shaw's defensive partner last night, Raphael Varane, Ten Hag said, Rafa shows once again his great personality, the standard he is giving Manchester United. I had a problem in the centre-half position, and he took the responsibility and played really well and was important for our team, which again, I think basically what he's saying there is, if we had everyone fit, probably Varane wouldn't have played last night because it would have been a bit too soon. I mean, it was the World Cup, a week last Sunday. So he's probably not been back that long, but we're really short at centre-back. You've got Maguire's had the illness. Lindelof was also ill last night. Martinez isn't back. So you've got 3 people there, 3 of the 4 defenders that aren't available. So Rafa had to come in. And as always, when he comes in, he shows the composure and experience that we associate the Rolls-Royce with. Now, Ten Hag then also said, I'm not looking at other teams, I'm looking at our team. I'm convinced we can compete with all of those teams, which I think is a fair comment. I think it's a fair comment. And again, this is what I'm just kind of touching on a minute ago. There is reason to be positive about United. There really is. I'm not just blowing smoke here. I truly believe there's a lot of room for optimism at United. We've got a really good coach. We've got good players. We're playing good football. Again, you would say we're light. That's factual. We are light in a couple of positions, particularly those attacking areas. And you do just feel like, come the end of the season, with the heavy schedule, with injury, illness, suspension, that might just be what bites us. But on our day, we've shown it this season when we've had games against those top sides. We absolutely can compete. We can beat anyone on our day, and I think that's really fair to say. I don't even think that's bias. I know we're a United channel here. We can beat anyone on it because we've proved it this season. You know, maybe again, but we'll come to Old Trafford. We'll see what happens this season. But all of the other top sides, we've beat them, or we've given them a game, or we've drawn with. We haven't lost to them. And again, if we just take out those inconsistencies, I think we're in a really good spot. I think there is momentum, and I do think there is something building there. I said it on my fan view last night. I really do think Ten Hag is building. And again, I know before people will say, it's only Forest. It's only Forest. It's only Burnley. Well, okay, earlier this season it was only Arsenal. And it was only Liverpool. And it was only Spurs. You know, they're impressive results, and I've seen enough on those days and continued this season that there is something there. Far from complete, and it's going to take a while. I don't even think going into next season you'll be like, we should be competing for the title. No, it's going to take multiple windows, and it's going to take time. But for the first time in a while, I'm confident with the manager that we have that if you give him the tools, I'm convinced he will succeed. I really, truly am. I have a lot of faith, which is rare for feeling about United in recent years, certainly. Now, talking about Marcus Rashford, once again, Rashford on the score sheet, goal and assist last night for the England international. He said, quote to BBC Sports, going out of the World Cup was a massive disappointment, but you have to take your time and get your head right before you come back here because you can't afford to be losing games and be feeling sorry for ourselves. I think the main thing is that I'm enjoying myself and I'm focused and happy. I'm hoping that can carry on. I want to have a really good season this year and hopefully win a trophy with the club. When asked if he can win a trophy and if he's confident United can win trophies again, he said, quote, that's the main aim. It's an ambition that we've had for a while. When I first came into the team, we had a good start. We won 3 or 4 trophies in the first couple of years. Since then, we were in a difficult patch, but the only way to come out of it is to keep working hard, and we have to keep listening to our manager and the staff, play the football he wants, and play to win the games. I think everyone enjoys playing here, Old Trafford. It's probably one of the best stadiums in the world. It's got brilliant fans, and when we're playing well, it's a great feeling, great atmosphere. There's not much you can compare it to. Certainly, and again, Marcus Rashford, we'll touch on him more in just a second. He was absolutely fantastic last night. Goal and assist once again. His fantastic form continues. Speaking of Rashford, Flex gave his view outside Old Trafford last night and highlighted Rashford's impressive performance. Here's what Flex had to say after United's 3-0 victory over Forest.
I'm going to start on Marcus Rashford because I think after the bad season he had last year, where he was really, really struggling, looking like he didn't want to be here, looking like he didn't want to play football. There's an old school thing where he just looks like he doesn't want to play football anymore. I think back to when he snapped at that fan walking out of the tunnel. What a difference a year can make. If I think back to last year under Ranić, when around this time, we just got rid of Ollie, hadn't we? By this time, and it was really toxic. Then into the new year, he got worse and worse and worse, and you just kind of really feared from him. And I know it's against Burnley, I know it's against Nottingham Forest, but he's still looking really, really sharp. The first goal that he scores is a good one for us as well. It shows that we're working on things on the training ground. It shows that we are coming up with new ideas, and actually we don't score a lot from corners, especially in the air. So a great little routine and a good clean connection, and that set him off. Then the second goal we score, kind of all is Rashford, actually. It starts from Casemiro, which was brilliant, a great ball from Bruno. But the way he takes it down from Bruno's pass, and he gives that I call it the old school Rashi chop, the one he gave Trent when he sent him into the stands that about 3 or 4 years ago now against Liverpool, where he done that kind of Ronaldo/Rashi chop and hit the far corner. But today he does that chop and sets in Martial and gets a good assist. And just in general, and when I'm watching him off the ball, his hunger to win it back, when I'm watching him brush defenders aside or try to nutmeg a player, try a little flip-flap, he's just got his confidence back. He's smiling, he's enjoying his game. And that's credit to him, that's credit to Erik ten Hag, because, when Marcus Rashford's at his best and he's confident, he's a handful.
I tell you what, he's spot on there, Flex. He really is. I think that you look at Rashford's performance recently, I think that I said yesterday, I think he was really unfortunate not to play more at the World Cup. We saw him come on against Iran in that opening game, score. We then saw him play against Wales, and he was fantastic. But he could never really cement a starting spot in the team. And frankly, he should have got way more minutes. He came on too late against France in the quarterfinals as well. But even going into that tournament, he was in fantastic form. He's been in great form for United this season. I mean, to Flex's point there, the contrast between his performances now and last season, it's so amazing the difference 12 months, a year can make. It really, truly is, because it's the same with Martial, and we'll touch on Martial in a bit, but this time last year, there was discussions of does Rashford, should we even play him for the remainder of the season? To Flex's point, he's arguing with fans outside the ground, and it was uncomfortable. Sometimes when you watch a player during a game and you're annoyed at them, you go, he's playing poorly, or he's giving the ball away. I know he's so much better, but it got past that with Rashford last season, because it got to the point where you started to feel bad. You started to feel legitimately bad for him, because he clearly was uncomfortable. He clearly was unhappy. Just when you read the body language, every time he touched the ball, it was always a bad touch, and you always felt like he just didn't want to be there. He wanted to be anywhere but playing football on the turf at Old Trafford or wherever he was. And you have to give him, honestly, because it takes so much, fight and heart to turn that around, because a lot of people, once they get into that kind of footballing death spiral, they don't come back for it. The confidence is shaken. The scrutiny on him is a lot higher than a lot of other players because of his work he's done off the pitch, especially throughout the pandemic. And there's this weird culture of people, I suppose, nowadays, whether it's sort of social media society or society in general, that when people achieve things above their station, they want to see people fail. And maybe that was the pressure that was on his shoulders. Maybe it took him to focus back on football. I don't know. But the turnaround is just absolutely sensational, and it's fantastic to see. And, he's really starting to get back to those levels that, that I think people expect of him, but maybe even better than he's done before. I mean, as Rashford played to this level, I can't recall a time where I've seen him play at this level, where every single game he's a threat. Every single game he's either scoring or getting an assist or positively affecting the game. Because even Rashford at his best was inconsistent as well, where he'd have a fantastic game, and you remember games where he played well, but then he would go missing for a couple of games. But at the moment, it does feel like it's every game, every single game. And I think, again, Rashford deserves a ton of credit for that from his own point of view, because it takes so much mental strength and rigidity to come back from that, and also to take a step back in pre-season and go, I need to rip everything down. I need to focus on everything, start again. I need to go to do these training camps. I need to work with these different people. There's a new manager coming in. My contract's up soon as well. I've got to work for that. And you know, if you don't knuckle down, life and your career can pass you by very quickly. Look at Dele Alli. You can start well, but talent will only get you so far. It's about hard work after that point, and that's what Rashford's doing. He's putting in hard work, and he's also, from Ten Hag's perspective, got a manager that clearly believes in him. From the moment Ten Hag walked through the door, arm round him, you're my player, you're my guy. If you're available, you're going to play. I believe in you. And Ten Hag said some really positive things about Rashford for a while, saying he rates him as one of the best players in the world. I don't know how much that true that is, but the point being is that, you know, a bit of hard work, a bit of belief, a bit of support from people around you, anything is possible, especially coming back from his poor form last season. So I think it is fantastic to see. Now, Casemiro as well. KG had some big comments on Casemiro, which we'll show in a second. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, by the way, guys. Got over 500 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. We're about 100, less than 110 likes away. So if you haven't already, be sure to click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Casemiro, I don't even know the best words to describe him. I think that, and I hold my hands up with this, and I think a lot of us do. You know, Flex, I'll call you out. I'll call us all out, because when Casemiro came to United, there was reservation, maybe a little bit of trepidation, because we've been burnt before. We've been hurt before with players that have achieved what he's achieved, or achieved the level of things he's achieved at big clubs, glittering career, Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or wherever they've come from. And they've come to United when they're sort of 29, 30, 31. For big money and on big wages, and we go, oh, they're going to achieve what they achieved at this club, or they're going to bring that to United, and then they don't, because they are on the decline, or they do have injuries, or the heart's not in it. They are just there for the money, whatever. But we were told explicitly the reason Casemiro wanted to come to United is because he wanted a new challenge. He wanted a different challenge. He did everything. He won everything at Real Madrid, and he saw the direction that they were going in. New, younger midfielders coming in, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and he went, I don't want to sit on the bench. Real Madrid didn't want to let him go. They said, do you want to stay? Please stay. He said, no, I want to go and do something else. And he didn't need to. He didn't need to, but that goes to show, again, talk about a winner, talk about someone that wants to contribute and try something different. He said, no, I want to go. And again, he could have gone to other Premier League clubs, if you think about it, more sort of successful currently Premier League clubs. But no, he wanted to go to a big club with a big reputation like Manchester United, play under a manager which, let's face it, you know, achieved things at Ajax, but it's a big step up. There's an unknown there. And he's come in, and it took a minute to really adapt, and he had to win his spot in the team from Scott McTominay, and look, justifiably so, because McTominay at the time was playing well, and there was some reservation about maybe, his passing, is it that good, and was he carried because he was playing in midfields with Kroos and Modric, and maybe he wasn't that good. But I tell you what, Casemiro, he is so much more than a defensive midfielder. I think if you just call him a defensive midfielder, you are doing him a disservice. If you are saying that he is just a ball winner, then you're doing him a disservice. I really, truly do. Graham Souness, I've seen that clip from whenever he signed, but I'm not even cautious to call out Graham Souness, because what's the point? Because it's not objective analysis anymore. It's just, let's open up. Oh, a Manchester United player, you're rubbish. Any reason why? No, it's just because he's a United player. Martinez, well, I think he's vertically challenged. Or Casemiro, I just think he's a bit steady, you know, he was carried by other players. Oh, come on. This is the thing with that kind of stuff, is you know for a fact, if Cody Gakpo, great example. If Cody Gakpo signed for United, he'd be like, unknown, I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't think he was that good at the World Cup. Wait for him to talk about Liverpool signing Gakpo. It will be a really good young player. I really liked what I saw. Come on, we're not even being objective anymore. And that's the thing with football analysis. Like, obviously, I'm a United fan. I don't like Liverpool, but I can say Mo Salah's a good player. I can say Virgil van Dijk's a good player. For whatever reason, they can't even do it. They cannot do it. And you know what? More fool them, because their analysis just ages worse than milk in the sun as the season goes on. Carragher about Martinez, I just don't think he's going to be a good Premier League defender. He won the World Cup this season. Casemiro, I think he's just a bit steady Eddie. Man of the match last night, he was brilliant. And how can you say someone that's won that amount of Champions Leagues? I'm just not sure he's that good. Do me a favour. Honestly, do me a favour. Absolute nonsense. Anyway, be sure to smash the like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Speaking of Casemiro, yes, I knew I was going somewhere with that. KG. I spoke to KG after the game, and I asked him the question, when was the last time we had a midfielder like a Casemiro at Manchester United? And KG gave me an interesting answer, and I'd love to know your guys' opinions. Here's what KG had to say. I mean, you mentioned Casemiro. I think he gets everyone's man of the match this evening. When is the last time we've had a midfield player like that? Can you recall the last time we had a midfield player like that where you're talking about he's winning tackles, he's dominating the ball, he's contributing positively to the goal? I mean,
Roy Keane.
Do we have to almost actually...
Roy Keane.
You're saying
I have to go that far back. I have to go that far back.
Since Roy Keane.
Since Roy Keane. I have to go that far back. Who am I going to say? I can't say Ander Herrera, as much as I love him. I can't say... who else could you put in there? I can't say Pogba because that's not his game. Schneiderlin was a fraud. Bastian Schweinsteiger didn't do anything for us. Darren Gibson, what is that? Who's been a defensive midfielder that you can...
Is even more than a defensive midfielder. That's the point.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's how far back when you look at it and say, have you had that level of quality? The guy is doing tackles and turning us into attacks. You know, he's doing tackles in like way back in our half. And it's like it becomes an offensive move, you know, and then the ball that he finds Fred today is ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to pass that good, but this is who you are. And my thing about Casemiro is it's the mentality more than anything. We brought in a true winner, someone with an expectation. These guys, there's an expectation to get these games done. There's expectation to win across when you keep saying, look, if we just win all our games, we keep focused, win. You look at it, and at the end of the season, you're like, raw, look at where we are. Again, we win our next game. If we win our next game because we're like behind Spurs, right? We win our next game in hand.
Yeah,
we're in the top 4.
Interesting stuff there from KG, and it's interesting actually the reaction and the response to that, because people were sort of saying you missed out Michael Carrick, and was Casemiro the best midfielder of that ilk since Michael Carrick? Just hold that thought, because I want to know and get your opinions up on the screen. Super chat from SK here says, Casemiro is just honest. Love him. Also, listen out for the pundits saying our squad depth is fine now. What happens if Varane, Casa, Bruno, Rashi hurt? I think that's the issue. Is, as I said earlier on, our starting 11, or maybe our starting like 13, you would say, as I said, can give anyone a game. We've proved that this season. We can beat anyone. Maybe, again, City, we'll wait and see what happens at Old Trafford later on this season. That game at the Etihad, but that can happen. But any of our rivals, we've given them a game or we've beaten them this season. So I'm not concerned about that. But to your point, SK, it's just... I look at, say, like Arsenal last season. I think Arsenal's a good comparison, whereby, for all intents and purposes, they should have qualified for the top 4. And the reason they didn't is, 1, because it's Arsenal, they bottled it, kind of what they do. But 2, in all seriousness, is in those key games last season against Newcastle and against Spurs, I think it was, they had a couple of injuries and it just got them at the wrong point. And when you speak to an Arsenal fan, they always go, yeah, if we'd have just got someone in January last year, we'd have got top 4. And that's the difference. Those are the fine margins. There are how many clubs trying to get into that 4th spot? Let's even say at the moment that Newcastle don't drop off. And let's just say that top 3 is locked down at this point. You've got City, Arsenal, Newcastle. Then you've got the 4th spot. You've got us, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs. You've got 4 trying to go into one spot. That does not fit. And it might be a war of attrition. It might just come down to, towards the end, not even the most consistent of an inconsistent group of sides. It might just be the team that's just got the most players available or the best squad depth. Because when those games start to pile up, and they will, and we're still in all of the competitions, it's going to become a war of attrition. Players that, teams that have just got a bigger squad or more players available. That might be what it comes down to. And I hope we don't get towards the end of the season. We just go, if we'd have just got someone in January, we would have been okay. But at the same time, I think we do have to taper expectations, because we're not going to spend money. Clearly, we're not going to spend money in January. It's going to be loans. That's going to be it. So Again, I think we have to taper expectations when it comes to that. No, with the super chat says, not even Wan-Sebastian Veron, referring to what KG was saying there, I suppose, as well. But is that fair? Is that right? Do you think that we haven't had a midfielder of Casemiro's ilk since Roy Keane? Is maybe KG overlooking Michael Carrick fair or not fair? Let us know in the live chat if you're watching afterwards. Let us know in the comment section below. As I said, I think it's almost disingenuous to call Casemiro a defensive midfielder because he offers so much more. He kickstarted 2 goals last night, you know. The second goal, which is a brilliant counter-attacking goal, it's an excellent tackle, but it's one thing to do a great tackle on a wet pitch, sliding tackle under the lights, fantastic, always gets a reaction from the crowd. But the best players are the players that do the tackle, win the ball, get back to their feet, and they find the pass. They're not content with the applause and adoration of the crowd going, oh, I did a great tackle. That was great. That's going to be, put on social media. It's no, how can I still positively affect the team? How can I pass the ball forward? How can I start an attack? And that's what he did. Great pass to Bruno. Shout out to Bruno as well because it's a really good ball to Rashford. Gives it to Martial. Martial with the finish. And again, he did it for the third goal as well. Wins the ball back, but also then has to find the pass. Passes it to Fred, who's in an acre of space. So it's that kind of composure and that kind of leadership. And that's also a great thing that we're starting to see with this Ten Hag side is there's a group of players there that you can point to, like 4 or 5 players. They're all leaders. It doesn't matter whether they're wearing the captain armband or not. Yes, you've got Bruno, who is the on-field captain, and eventually he's going to become the club captain. Maguire definitely being phased out, you can tell at this point. But you've also got Varane. You've also got Casemiro. You've also got Rashford. You've also got Martinez when he's there. There's 4 or 5 leaders on that pitch, and that's what you need. You need a team of winners, you need a team of leaders, and that's what we're starting to see, and Casemiro is such a big part of that. And again, it almost feels foolish to think that we doubted him. How can we doubt a guy that's won everything that he's won, and won Champions Leagues, won La Ligas, competed to a high level, has that tenacity? How did we doubt him? And the reason why is because we've been burnt before. To give all of us a bit of credit, I suppose there might be some out there that are like, I never doubted him, but it feels foolish to think, doesn't it? It feels foolish to think that we doubted him. So there you go. What people are saying in the live chat as well. Dilvis is saying Carrick. Starlodge says Bruno, Portuguese Magnifico. Lil Yo-Yo, a member, says, I do think that Carrick and Casemiro are different profile of midfielders. I think maybe that's the point. I think that's maybe the point that KG was making. And that was, in fairness to him, the question that I asked. When was the last time we had a midfielder like that? And his point was that, was Carrick like that? Carrick, for me, was more of a playmaker, sort of keep the tempo going, a tempo set. And I don't think Casemiro is that. But he's more than a ball winner. Maybe it is like a Roy Keane who did win the ball back, but also started moves and score goals. I'm not sure. As Dark says here, how can you doubt 5 Champions League? I don't know. I don't know why we did it. I really don't. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. We're 12 likes away from 150, and we can get to 200 likes. Easy. There's over 600 people watching, so if you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. I do want to talk about Anthony Martial and Aaron Wan-Bissaka in just a second, but first, Flex also spoke to Marcel after the game outside Old Trafford. Here's what Marcel had to say about United's 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest.
Clever, Casemiro, composed. We're talking about composure that we need to deliver. Creative as well, classy, concentration as well. There was a moment where he's sliding, but you had to control the slide just to make sure that he doesn't
that second goal, Varane gets himself in a bad position, gets weights. Yeah. And like you said, who's there to mop up? Casemiro gets us going.
Honestly, I mean, he was holding the midfield line by himself. Even when, like you're saying, to your point, when the Nottingham Forest players are getting through, he's making them recovery runs into the near post and blocking crosses in. That's how much desire it is. Sometimes players allow crosses in and problems happen. He's stopping crosses, tracking back. That's excellent CDM work there. And you could even see from the other 2 midfielders, Bruno and Eriksen, they were going out wide now because they could trust him to hold down that midfield line for them, and they're causing overloads out wide. I would say he has to be 10 out of 10 performance today, Flex. It was absolutely brilliant from Casemiro. Absolutely fantastic. Like you said before, tries the chip as well. Just confidence from him. I think Bruno even tried a long shot from the halfway line as well at times. That midfield was fantastic. I mean, Eriksen's first half was good as well. Him and Casemiro trying to play those passes through the thirds. A lot of driven passes through the lines on the ground. Just clever little stuff. You can see that those 3, that combination, they're really starting to understand.
Eriksen does that a lot, and it's one thing that it's like, if you want to see it, yeah, it's like you have to task yourself with going, okay, somebody told me to just watch Eriksen, so let me just watch him for 90 minutes. Especially when you're in the ground, them little punchy passes left and right foot with the correct weight forward between the lines or out to the wing quickly. He has a little scan, he has a little check, and he just does it quick and crisp. On TV, because they don't lead to a goal or an assist or something, you kind of just forget it happened. But I don't know, maybe it's because I've got a bit of a positive bias towards it. I just love watching him do that, and he did that as well. It's going to go under the radar today because Casemiro was amazing and Rashford was brilliant. Sure.
I was just thinking about the Carrick stuff, because I've seen a lot of Carrick discussion in the chat, which I love. Like Loyo says, Carrick was more like Pirlo to me. Nessie says Carrick didn't really have the tenacity like Cass, but he didn't need it because he read the game so brilliantly. Ninth Earth says, I never doubted Casemiro. Gemini says, Casemiro, the Bentley Continental as well. Also, as well, as Ed says, I just want the whole stream to be about Bossamiro, aka the Lambo truck. I was just thinking with KG missing out Carrick, I recall having a real back and forth of him earlier this season, because I was talking about Christian Eriksen and how composed Eriksen is, and almost Eriksen reminds me more of Carrick than Casemiro does, to be honest with you, because again, he dictates the tempo really well. And I said that I thought Eriksen was better than Carrick, and that got a bit of pushback. And then the reason KG revealed to me why he likes Michael Carrick so much is because he's got a signed pair of boots from Michael Carrick. So why did he forget him last night? Why did he forget Michael Carrick last night? I don't know. You can't understand the mind of KG sometimes. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. So I just remembered that. So you really like Michael Carrick. How did you forget him? Nevertheless, I do want to talk about Anthony Martial as well, because Martial, look, didn't play 90 minutes once again last night. He's still yet to play 90 minutes this evening. But once again, when this guy plays, he either scores or he gets an assist. His record this season in terms of minutes per goal or goal contributions per minute, whatever you want to do, has to be right up there with anyone in the league. He's played so little football, and he really is wrapped in cotton wool, and then just nobody touch him, don't do anything. You could tell, I mean, he came off, was it sort of 70th minute? I think something like that last night, and part of me hoped that he would play 90, but I guess at that point, when you've got him through the game for 70, you go, just not risk it. Because we can't risk it. As we spoke about before, we're really light, especially after the departure of Ronaldo. We're a striker light up front, and we know at some point Martial is going to pick up a knock. Every time someone touches him on the pitch, you go, like that, you get worried. So that's the concern. And to be honest, last night, he was, apart from scoring, he was fairly quiet, but I don't care as long as his link-up play is good. As long as he's getting on the score sheet, it doesn't matter. And as long as he's not getting hurt. And talking about, a Marcus Rashford that we spoke about earlier, a player clearly that Ten Hag has put his arm round and said, you're my guy, I'm going to play you. Same with Anthony Martial, and he's put up with a lot this season. I mean, it was very clear, it's clear through pre-season, that Anthony Martial was Erik ten Hag's guy. He played pretty much every preseason game. The front three was Rashford, Martial, Sancho. And it was clear going into the season what Erik ten Hag wanted from his striker, what plans he had for Anthony Martial. And then like the day before that first game against Brighton, Martial got injured. And then ever since then, it was been return, injury, return, injury. In between all of that's been goals and assists. But Erik ten Hag's had to put up with a lot, and still, throughout all of it, Ten Hag has dealt with the injuries. He's got his arm around Martial and saying, you're my guy. And you just hope, you really do hope that he can remain fit between now and the end of the season. I think it's inevitable at some point he gets injured or picks up a knock. That's why we need more people. But also it's important that we manage him. We spoke about Varane earlier on, and touch wood, he doesn't have any more injury issues this season. He picked up that injury against Chelsea, which was an unlucky injury. That's an injury that just can happen on a football pitch, and he was devastated by that because he thought he was going to miss the World Cup, but he didn't in the end. But now it's upon United, for Varane this season, they've managed his fitness a lot better, and he's playing more often, and I think it's probably the same mindset towards Anthony Martial of, okay, we have to manage him. We have to manage his fitness. We have to put him on an individual program. We have to ensure that he doesn't get injured as much, and we need to manage or try our very best to manage all of those variables. Again, they did it with Varane in pre-season. Varane, I think they did a couple of training sessions. He got injured, and then he went on this individual program and started to get phased back into the side, and he hasn't really looked back since then. So I think clearly that's what they've got to do with Martial. Now, again, you cannot put all of your eggs in the Martial basket, because we know where that's going to go. We know where that's going to go. It's going to lead to Rashford playing up front, shoehorning people in, and Rashford clearly, and you've seen it in the last couple of games, is so much more effective coming off the wings, because if Martial doesn't play, then Rashford's got to go up front, and then sometimes, Bruno might end up on the right-hand side, and then suddenly you've got players not in their best position. But what I will say is, again, if we can effectively manage Martial and he can start playing 90 minutes, I think that's a real positive. So again, we still need players, we still need strikers, but another good performance or another goal. Again, the performance overall from Martial, actually. Again, he didn't do all that much, but he didn't need to. If you score a goal, that's all that matters, really, as well there. Let's go back to some more reactions from after the game as well. Flex spoke to Faz. Yes, Flex spoke to Faz outside Old Trafford. Here's what Faz had to say. And I just wonder, considering that first goal was a corner, which means it was a set piece, which means was old Eric Ramsey involved in that one?
Let's start with the first goal. I'll tell you what, Eric Ramsey's not bad at set pieces, isn't it? We worked on a set piece there, deliberate, cross low, Rashford comes round the screen, very deliberate. Things are working on the training ground. Eric Ramsey.
Doing his job. Good on him. He can stay if things continue like this. Now, I'm not like some people who have agenda and then they don't let it go. I know when to let it go. If things are working, it's working.
To be honest, I don't know if Eric Ramsey even set that up. Could have been Mitchell van der Gaag, but I just thought it was a nice place to touch. Because actually, do you know what? We don't often score from corners, and that was really deliberate, and that was actually well worked, and that just gave us the platform then to just go on and be comfortable in it.
No, it was good. It was good. You know what? I'm just so glad seeing the boys enjoy themselves today. Everybody, Casemiro trying to chip ball, Bruno trying to shoot from halfway line.
Casemiro tried to Cantona, If he scored that, he could have put his collars up and done that one. Remember when Cantona scored that chip? He could have done that, but they just looked in the mood, didn't it?
Yeah, everybody just seems like they're having fun with the ball, and you can start seeing that they understand the type of football that they're supposed to be playing under this manager. You can see that we have an identity, certain things off the ball that we're doing straight away. Let's say, give the ball away, everybody get up, forward up. Nobody's staying behind and keeping someone on side and etc. Varane for me, man. This
like that today.
I know Casemiro everything, but Varane, man. Like the level of just calmness. Just imagine you're David De Gea, you look in front of you, you see Varane and Casemiro. You just know today is going to be an easy day in the office. That's what's going to be easy day. Man put Luke Shaw next to him, and he made it look piss easy. And this is a testament to what Harry Maguire said. I don't have good partners. Well, there you have it, Harry Maguire. All that. How about that? Man don't even have centre back next.
Be sure to smash a like on the like button if you haven't already, guys. We've got over 700 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. We're less than 25 away, so if you haven't already, click that like button. See if we can get to 250, and remember to subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Road to 127k. I think we're less than 100 subs away, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. I want to talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, we've got to have a conversation, I think, about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because 2 games, yes, it's Burnley, top of the Championship in the Carabao Cup, but still, it's Burnley. Yes, it's Forest last night, but I'm telling you now, we've spoken this morning extensively about Erik ten Hag getting the best out of Marcus Rashford, getting the best out of Anthony Martial, rejuvenating these players. Can he even do it? Can he do it with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a player that even he, Erik ten Hag, wrote off? He looked at him in one pre-season game and went, no, he can't. He can't. His touch, he suffers from condition known as Brookfoot. He can't. Well, the last couple of games, Aaron Wan-Bissaka played very well, really well. And not even, I had to keep saying this to KG during the match view last night, not even to the level of, KG likes Wan-Bissaka, so we're joking around, he does a pass, and we go, Wan-Bissaka did a pass. He was playing well. He got an assist against Burnley. Last night, we saw, I hope you're all sitting down this morning, or wherever you are, if you're in your commute, or if you're just, relaxing during the holidays. I hope you're all sitting down, because what we saw last night was inverted AWB. We saw an inverted right back from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Not only was he defending, doing positive defensive work, but he was also, at one point, he was like level with Bruno on the edge of the box. The opposition's box, not ours, the opposition's box. And you say to yourself, like, if Erik ten Hag can do that with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, then maybe we don't have the right back conversation until the summer. Clearly, he still wants a right back. We were going for a right back in the summer, and I still do think if an option came up in January where it was like, I can get in a right back on loan, more like the profile that I'm looking for, then Wan-Bissaka probably would move on. But at the same time, if you play like that, and again, I know it's, lesser opponents and not the best opponents, but you can only play who's in front of you. If he's playing like that, he gives Ten Hag something to think about. Now again, when Diogo Dalot comes back from an injury, his hamstring injury, we don't know how long he's going to be out. I would suspect he goes straight back in that side. We're not going crazy here. We're not, completely going insane saying, Dalot, you're going to have to fight to get back in. But, Wan-Bissaka, I would say, on the basis of the last 2 performances we have seen, is fighting for his United career. I think, and you know what? And fair play to him. Credit to him. Because what he could have done is what other players have done when they know they're on the way out. They know they're halfway out the door. They know they're done at United. And yeah, they have to play because there might be some injuries or suspensions, and they just sort of half-ass it, or they phone it in. They're not really going for it. I saw a guy in the last 2 games that is trying. And I know that's a low bar for United, but after the last season, I'll applaud anyone that gives it everything. And I think he gave it everything. And trying things I haven't seen him do. And I don't know how I feel about Wan-Bissaka at the moment. I don't. I don't know how I feel about him. Again, when Dalot comes back, straight back in, maybe there is a bit more competition. I think the way we've sort of viewed it so far this season, isn't it, is that, well, if Dalot gets injured, we've got no one at right back. And you go, yeah, we've got Wan-Bissaka under contract. You go, yeah, but we might as well have no one. And I think Ten Hag viewed it like that. We've seen Malacia play at right back so far this season, but maybe he's an option. I don't know. I don't know. But my general feeling is he'll probably go, maybe. But I think he's had some good games the last couple of games, and again I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, because I think that again people have written him off, and maybe a bit more justifiably so, because just technically he's not. And in fairness, for the goal that was ruled out, it was his man, but it was offside, so it didn't matter. So shout out Wan-Bissaka. Oh, I tell you what, guys, it's a Christmas miracle. The ghost of Christmas past, present, and maybe the future is here in Zayn Miassi. Welcome. Happy holidays, Zayn. Says, I think you're getting carried away with beating bottom of the league. Who's top of the league? Partey will deal with Casemiro come January. Well, in the same way that we dealt with you at Old Trafford earlier this season, Zayn. You can say all you want, and I know you're top of the league, and I know that's where we'd rather be, but nothing can take away what happened earlier this season. What was the score at Old Trafford, Zayn? Tell me. I'd love to know. What was the score that day? Oof. But welcome back, Zayn. I've missed the back and forth. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you had a good holiday. In all seriousness, I have missed you, Zayn. I've missed your positive contributions. I think that's the lifeblood of football, and football fandom is fans from opposition clubs going at each other nicely, of course, and it's all in good spirit when it comes to Zayn, and I respect that. It doesn't come from a place of malice. It's always from a place of fun and a good back and forth. So I appreciate you, Zayn. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Over 700 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 250. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. What else do we have next? We have Statman Cam. Yes, Flex spoke to Cam outside Old Trafford last night, and Cam started off talking about Jesse Lingard and the reception that he got. Take a look at this.
Before we start though, I want to give a shout out to something that you don't see very often. Jesse Lingard, the guy has faked an injury. He's told us how he didn't get his send-off that he wanted. The guy's faked an injury on a specific point of the pitch where he walks around in front of the entire Stretford end, goes off, not even injured enough to go down the tunnel, sits on the bench, milks the applause from all 4 sides of the stadium, sits down.
What, you think that's deliberate?
Oh, of course, there's no way. Look at where he went off injured. He started in the box, went near the halfway line, nearer the touchline, so we have to go all the way around the pitch in front of the Stretford end. He's clapping it, milking it. He goes down, like, you know how steep that is off the pitch? He's gone down 5 metres, gone up on a supposedly injured leg. Not gone down the tunnel, he's milking the applause.
Can I ask you a question?
I've got to respect it, yeah.
Obviously we talk about the game, but I just find it so funny that that's your opening, like, you just got to get that off your chest, like.
You got to respect that, haven't you?
Well, did you know what? He got his send-off, innit? He got his send-off. Rashford, in the mood again, innit? I know you can only play what's in front of you. Like you said, Forest weren't very good. You know, Burnley, same thing. But he's looking sharp, man.
He's looking so sharp. He's seeing things he didn't see before. He's a lot more decisive, a lot more sort of aggressive every time he gets the ball. You love to see it. He's back playing his best.
Yeah, and that's, from where he was last year, when he was just looking, so lost. To see him smiling, to see him being direct, to see him getting goals, assists, that's what we're going to need going forward, especially we missed out on Gakpo and we don't know what's going to happen, but with the players that we do have, we need him to be at it.
Yeah, and it's nice, like, you can trust him now. You can have Malacia tucking in to give him that 1v1 space out wide. And Rashford's delivering with it. That's what the thing is, obviously, if Rashford doesn't deliver, then you've got a problem because your wing's open. But you're giving him the 1v1 space, let him do his thing, and he's delivering every time pretty much he gets the ball. It's fantastic. He's looking for other players, and it's Benny McCarthy, apparently, who's done a great job with him. So,
shout out, Cam. I mean, that tickled me when I saw that this morning, that he... called out Jesse Lingard. Lingard faked the injury. He wanted the applause. Look, I was glad for Lingard that he got his moment. Clearly, it stuck in his craw that he didn't get the send-off that he wanted. He said some things coming into the game, speaking about false promises and this, that and the other. No one's got the entitled right to play for Manchester United, of course. Look, spent a lot of time there as a kid, came through the academy. If that's what he was looking for, great. I don't know about faking the injury or anything like that, but whatever. I think he got what he wanted, and best of luck to him in the future, right? Again, he's contributed a lot in terms of time to the club and come through the club, so shout out to him. As far as what Cam was saying there about Rashford, again, yeah, it's great to see him back to his best, and again, it's reasons to be positive for Manchester United, certainly. I do want to also talk just briefly on Anthony. We're going to talk about Anthony, then we'll get to some player ratings. But Anthony last night is an interesting one, because I think that from all of the positivity that we just spoke about yesterday, and you talk about Varane, you talk about Casemiro, you talk about Rashford, you talk about Martial and Bruno, and all of these players and all of these positive things that we saw. Maybe the one negative from last night was maybe, I say negative, but the one sort of, what's the best way to describe it? A performance that has come under a little bit of scrutiny is Anthony's performance. I think people are waiting to see more from him. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because there's now pressure because you've got a Garnacho there. He doesn't play on the right-hand side, but I suppose things can be shifted around, that there is competition there that people maybe just want to see a little bit more from Anthony. Now, at the same time, I think that Anthony, it was Martial's goal, made a distracting run and occupied the defenders. So I think that will probably go unnoticed. So I think he deserves credit for that. The key one is the opportunity that he missed. It's the one-on-one with the keeper. It's an easy opportunity. And even Ten Hag referenced it after the game. He wasn't happy with that missed opportunity. You have to be more clinical. And I suppose he can be harsh on Anthony there because he's worked with him in the past. So Anthony knows Ten Hag's expectations. And Ten Hag knows in the Premier League, you have to be clinical when you have those one-on-one situations. I think that you still have to give players time. I think that there is hopefully a lot more to come. Look, there's a big price tag and there's expectation there because the right-hand side feels like cursed, doesn't it? Every person we try and bring in to solve the right-hand side, not that it doesn't work out, but it takes a while or the expectations are too high. I'm not sure. I think the best thing for Anthony is him having competition there. I think Rashford, of course, played on the right-hand side against Burnley and was excellent. And I said at the time that might be the best thing for Anthony because if you've got Garnacho on the left and Jadon Sancho, hopefully when he comes back, you've got competition on that side. And I know people say, Rashford can't play on the right-hand side. Well, he's proven for England and United that he can. And that's the best thing for Anthony, as I've said about Lingard and about other players. Nobody's got the entitled right to play for United. And maybe Anthony would have come in being Ten Hag's guy, big transfer fee, a lack of competition there, and thought, I'm going to play every single game. I'm just going to play every game and it's going to be fine. No, it doesn't work like that at United, and it doesn't work like that under Erik Ten Hag. If you're not pulling your weight, if you're not performing to the level that the manager expects, someone else will play there. That's why also you need strength in depth. So, some of the criticism I think was maybe a bit too much on Anthony last night. But I think there is a bit of an expectation that you need more. You need more and you want more. And more performances like that, if that becomes a bit more consistent, then you will raise an eyebrow a little bit, the Dwayne Johnson style. I think that will be the case. But the positive thing I think there is that there's competition and that you under Ten Hag, you can't ghost through a game. If you ghost through a game, you won't play. And some people, Planet Funny here says, Amad Diallo. United says, Anthony refuses to run at defenders. Rashford is much better on the right. Garnacho could easily start on the left. And to be honest, I agree with what United was saying there, that I really liked against Burnley just how direct on both wings we were. I thought Rashford was really direct on the right, and I thought Garnacho was really direct on the left-hand side. What happened to wingers, just being left and right footed, right? And you know, running at defenders, occupying spaces and giving defenders something to think about, not just running at them, but running in behind as well. And again, I think Ten Hag will look at that and consider that for the future. Again, when Anthony came off, who did he bring on? Garnacho. So I think Anthony needs to take a look behind him and go, there's competition here. And that's a good thing. It really is a good thing. Mike Phelan himself, myself, is in the chat. The eyeballs there. It's not Josh, different people. They're totally different people. I'm sure Josh is probably asleep. You know, he was busy working last night. Totally different people. But if Mike's here, you know, one thing they're about to say is we nearly got 800 people watching. We can do better on the likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to 300. We're 70 likes away from 300. We're still basking in the glory, yes, of the 3-0 victory last night at Old Trafford. Finally, let's do some player ratings as well. Flex was joined by the likes of Marcel, Faz and Cam for some player ratings outside Old Trafford. Here's what they had to rate certain players.
Who else was in midfield? Casemiro.
It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10,
I want to see his stats, Flex, at the end of this game. You know, I'm hoping Owen's putting them
He'll
up.
be on Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I hope Owen or KG or somebody's putting them up on for us, because I think we got to see them, man. I think he made one mistake in the game and he was furious about it.
Yeah.
You know, he made one bad pass
and
went
out for a throw.
And it went out for, and he was furious about it. That was the level he played at today. Fantastic.
10.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. And again, I know we mentioned it in your fan views afterwards, but you can say it's Nottingham Forest or it's Burnley. It doesn't matter. He still has to do it. And actually, it shows the level that he is. Like compared to Nottingham Forest level, he could just come in seamlessly. If you're going to give me space and time, I will look like prime Modric / Pirlo. Like he was zinging balls left. He was doing all the things that I wouldn't normally say he's great at. Do you know what I mean? Because he was just strutting about the pitch. Brilliant.
No one else in the world reads the game like him. He's everywhere. Before we've even lost the ball, he knows where to be to win it back.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much he knows.
We are lucky to have him. You know, when he came, I said I'll wait and see how he does. And the beginning signs, he took a while to get going, but you got to hold your hands up, man. He's really balling out right now. Bruno.
Interesting. Bruno, for me, I think I'd give him a 7.
I think that's fair.
7 is very much fair. Again, his work rate, I really appreciate it. He's always there. Yeah. You saw as well when the VAR situation was occurring, he went over to the ref and started giving it a little bit.
He made sure that.
Yeah, he made sure, and I like that from him. And you know, I just think he is going to be eventually the permanent kind of captain. If it's not someone else, he could be one of those individuals. So yeah, I think 7 is fair based on what I saw today. He didn't really do much, but passing and everything wise, no hero balls, nothing crazy.
Well, a really good pass that he did do was when Casemiro won the ball back for us and the ball ends up after 2 passes later at Bruno. That ball he drops over the top, inside of the foot, inside left channel to Rashford to bring down. Perfect weight.
Just to confirm once again, I know Mike Phelan was in the chat and some people said, oh, that's Josh. Different people. That's more the proof that you need. People will say, oh, it's like a Bruce Wayne Batman situation. Different people. Certainly different people. Starlord says Casemiro, aka Casemiro as well. Lots of positive comments about Casemiro, certainly. And look, there's positivity now going forward to the next game. The next game's Wolves, New Year's Eve. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff, at Molineux. Difficult one. Look, I know they've been struggling recently, but they won. Julian Lopetegui's now in charge. They've got a new signing coming soon as well. Who did they beat? Was it Crystal Palace they beat the other day? Oh no, it was Everton, wasn't it? It was Everton, that was it. It was a last-minute winner for them. So look, they've got a really good coach. Lopetegui's a really good coach. They're going to be galvanised. It's not going to be an easy game. Our record at Molineux is, it's okay. So it's going to be a challenging game. But at the same time, this is what KG and I were saying last night heading into the game against Forest, is that when you look at the top 4 rivals that we have, whether it's Newcastle, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's City, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Liverpool, you would feel like if they had the run of fixtures that we have right now, where it's Forest at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, you'd be looking at them going, well, we can't afford to slip up because they're most likely going to get 9 points. And that's what we've got to look at. We've got to keep building this momentum, keep winning games. Our away form hasn't been as good as our home form this season, so that's something to consider. But there's a lot to be positive about with Manchester United at the moment. As I keep saying, yes, I know transfer-wise and and squad depth-wise, we need more. But at the same time, I think there's a lot to be positive about our manager, about the players we have, about the form that we're in, and certain players in our squad really playing well. So truly, there is a lot to be positive around Manchester United at the moment. And who knows what we can go on to achieve this season. But there you go, guys. Appreciate you all joining me this morning for the return edition of Matchday Reloaded. It's been a while and it's been enjoyable. And I'm looking forward to doing this after every match day. It's one of my favourite shows to do. I love interacting with you guys. I love playing the clips. I love getting the quotes. It's the perfect kind of, I don't know, just a little bit of accompaniment. That's not the right word. I'm trying to think, what's the word after epilogue? That's what it is. It's a perfect epilogue after a match day. It's perfect. Exactly. So be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Plenty of UV content coming soon. Have a great Wednesday morning, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.